Peace, peace, peace. What it is, family? It's your brother TYVON SWAIN L, aka the Orthodox Moor. And real quick, I want to address a small issue that I witnessed the other day. I was watching SANETER on Black News 102, etc. And Garfield and Rob Bourne and Taharka came on having a conversation about Moors, etc. And there was a concept about Moors being afraid to take a DNA test. And it had to do with this concept of, like, you know what I'm saying, tracing yourself back to a certain group of people in West Africa, and do they call themselves Moors? Are they Moors, etc., etc., etc. And I felt like there was a couple of basic points that weren't really addressed and or made in the conversation. So I'm just trying to do a real quick small video, doing some dawa, some Moorish dawa to everybody involved, to SANETER, to Harka, to Rob Bourne, and to Brother Garfield. So first, I rise giving praises to Allah, and I give honors to His Prophet Ali. Let's get into this. So first and foremost, like I said, I'm not gonna make this a very long video. The concept of being Moorish is a national concept, and it also has to do with an empirical concept. What does that mean? So everyone understands this concept of what tribe do you come from. Like this concept of the DNA test, like, oh, where do you go? Where do you go back to? Like Nigeria? All right, cool. That's a nation. Now, what people in Nigeria do you go back to? Are you Yoruba? Are you Igbo? Are you Ibibio? Like whatever, you know what I'm saying? All that type of stuff, right? That's getting more finite. That's still the tribe and whatnot. But Nigeria is the nation there. What's an empirical concept? An empirical concept is when you get many nations together under one banner. So you can get the Nigerians, you can get the people from Senegal, you can get the people from a bunch of different countries around there, from Mali, all that type of stuff. You get them together under one banner. That's an empire or an emirate or something of that, a confederacy, something of that nature, to where it's individual nations with even more tribes underneath that, all dealing with an empire concept. And when you deal with that, you have something like lingua francas, where you have like people speaking many different languages, but there's one language that's spoken within the empire. I can go anywhere and speak this language, etc. So in the video I'm talking about, there was this concept like Moors being afraid to take DNA tests, and I'm here to tell you, like, that's nothing of the sort. And there's nothing in our literature that would make it to where like anybody would want to deny doing such, right? Like, so for me, I can tell you, like my DNA goes to West Africa, like Nigeria, Senegal, Mali, North Africa. I'm Berber all day, North African Jewish all day, Iberian Peninsula. I have some Spanish, etc. I'm like from Spain proper. I have like the Great Britain area, the Great British Isles, etc. Like I'm Scotch Irish a little bit. Like most people who are African American descent, there's some percentage of European, mostly either English or Irish descent. You can see historically why that is. And I'm even a little bit of American Indian, small percentage of the Southwest. Like there's nothing about that has anything that's adverse to the concept of being Moorish by nationality or a Moroccan empire. So real quick, I just want to read off some stuff and just give a couple of examples real quick. So in chapter 47 in the Circle 7 Quran, or the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, or the Everlasting Gospel, whichever you choose to call it, it says some basic things here. The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa, the dividing line of the land between the father and son. The dominion of Cush, northeast, southeast Africa, and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. I know this is termed dominion, etc., right? That'll come up later. In later years, many of their brethren from, Yep. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa. They were the founders and the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, like North and West Africa. Right? You see that? With their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sojourned from the land of Canaan seeking new homes. Their dominion and habitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across the great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands before the great earthquake which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. I'm not going to read any further. I could read a lot, but here's the point here. Here's where we're saying that the people extended to, right? So northeast to southwest Africa. That almost focus on that juncture right there. Just that right there. So they're talking about like what people can you go back to and call yourself Moors and what that calls themselves Moors and whatnot. So this is the area that we should be looking at people who do this to, right? And typically the argument is like, can you find some sub-Saharan people who call themselves Moors? Because we know all day that the North Africans did. We know that happened, right? So we also say this in the same chapter, right? Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. This is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father and strayed after the gods of Europe, whom they knew nothing. So check this out. The nationality of the Moors was stripped, right? Gives you the date too, right? So can you show a South or a sub-Saharan African calling themselves a Moor? Sure can. Very famous story. Abdul Rahman Ibn Ibrahim, right? My dude is known as the Prince amongst slaves. In short, he's from West Africa, Futa Jalon. Right? Let me click on this so y'all see. Oh, let me get a map real quick. Oh, you're not gonna do me like that. No, Guinea real quick. So you can see this is sub-Saharan West Africa. This is the Senegambia. You feel me? My man is of Fula descent. He's Fulani. Okay. He's enslaved and sold into slavery in 1788, right? He's found to be treated differently amongst the slaves by his slave master. He's like, whoa, why are they treating him different? What's going on? They're treating him like he's royalty. And so he's like, wow, I also noticed that he speaks Arabic. I might need to go holler at the authorities to make sure I don't have a Moor on my hands. And so there's contact made with the Moroccan consulate. And subsequently, the brother is released and sent back to West Africa as a Moor under a treaty of peace and friendship as a Moor. Now, again, he is Fulani descent. That is his tribal descent. His national and empirical descent that he claims at this juncture is Moorish. They are not mutually exclusive. Just like when you have the Roman Empire, you have many different nations like Germania, Hispania, whatever, all underneath Galicia, all underneath Rome. So again, this is 1788. In 1787, or 1788 when he goes into slavery, 1787, right? There was a treaty of peace and friendship signed, 86, 87, signed with Morocco and America. And it stipulates that if either of the parties shall be at war with any nation, whatever, and take a prize belonging to that nation, and there shall be found on board subjects or effects belonging to either of the parties, the subject shall be set at liberty, and the effects returned to the owners. So based upon this, right? Understand, my man is not a Moor when he goes to go talk to the Moroccan consulate. Or he's not underneath the Moroccan dominion. Let me say it like that, because when you go into this, watch what it says. If any Moor shall bring citizens of the United States or their effects to his majesty, the citizens shall immediately be set at liberty and the effects restored. And in like manner, if any more not a subject of these dominions shall make prize of any of the citizens of America or their effects, and bring them into any of the ports of his majesty, they shall be immediately released, as they will then be considered as under his majesty's protection. So again, his majesty, this is the Sultan of Morocco. Okay. So he's saying that there's Moors that are underneath his dominion and Moors who are not. Again, here's that word dominion again, right? Dominion again. We're talking about dominions, right? We're talking about territories governed by empires. You feel me? So within his dominion, he's like, check this out. These people are cool. And in your dominion, my people are cool. So when my brothers found out, Brother Abdul Rahman, when he's found out like that he can speak Arabic or whatnot, that's when his slave master's like, whoa, let me go check this out, because Arabic is the lingua franca of the empire of the Moors. And you go to Timbuktu right now, and you see all the different tribal languages of West Africa, North Africa, etc., being recorded in one lingua franca. So you want to go learn your West African history? You got to learn Arabic right now. You got to learn the Moorish lingua franca, because it wasn't just written in any Arabic either. It was written in a particular Arabic that was particular for our empire and whatnot. We was rocking with that Kufic Arabic and whatnot, etc., etc., etc. So like, man, there's a lot to be learned and gleaned from that concept. The lingua franca of the Moors was Arabic. So again, he's being heard speaking Arabic. Let me go see if he's a Moor real quick, because I can't keep him as a slave, right? And not only that, like in the same time period, you have something called the Free Sundry Moors Act coming out in the Carolinas or whatnot, to where you have Moors who are being enslaved petitioning to go back home under this treaty, this treaty that I'm talking about, that I just showed you, right? So people are reading about this in the news, etc. Like it's an understood thing, right? It's an understood, like, hey, if you got a Moor in your hand, we got treaties with these people. Don't get us caught up. And via the Constitution of the United States, treaties are equal with the Constitution as law of the land. Understand this. This standing treaty here is equal with the Constitution via the Constitution as law of the land. So when my man when he gets that legit scare, like, oh, I might have a Moor in my hands, let me go double check. Understand, he's not a Moor of the Moroccan Dominion. Not when he goes there. Again, my man is from Guinea, from Fouta Djallon, from Guinea, from the Senegambia region. That is not Morocco. But after conversing with the consul, he's like, check this out. You can go home, and you can go home to West Africa if you become one of our subjects of this dominion. Cool. He rocks with that and goes back home. Goes back to the Senegambia. Like, he doesn't go back to Morocco. He goes back to West Africa. That's the concept of tribal affiliation, nationality, and then the empirical concept, all wrapped up in one story. That's why Moors are not afraid of DNA. Our DNA is supposed to go back to West Africa, North Africa, etc. It's supposed to. And we're proud about that. We're proud about being African in our tradition. Moors don't say that they're not African. Any Moor that says that they're not African is not reading their scrolls. Not reading their scrolls. Any Moor that tells you that they're not African by nationality is reading their scrolls. But anyone that tells you that they're not African by descent, no, I've never heard a Moor make that claim in my life, ever. Like I'm saying, I know my people go back to Nigeria, go back to Senegal, go back to Mali, go back to North Africa, go back, etc., etc., etc. Right? I don't deny that. I'm proud about that. That's cool for me. I can go study the individual aspects of the cultures that I know that I come from those specific spots. That's a beautiful thing right there. I can celebrate those things within an empirical concept and within a national concept. Celebrating my tribe is not against a national concept. Celebrating my nationality is not against the empirical concept. The beautiful thing about the empirical concept is many different nations and many different tribes can fit underneath that. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to come together underneath the Moorish banner. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying for those that it makes sense to do so, do so. But the beautiful thing about that is the Moorish banner allows for you to have descent from all those different areas in North and West Africa that we come from. Just like you see here with my man coming from Fouta Djallon and being able to go back home by affiliating with himself from people in Morocco, with people in Morocco, in an empirical national concept, understanding he's not of the same tribe. So with that, family, I think I'm just gonna shut it down right there. Don't want to make it too long. I appreciate y'all for listening. I appreciate your time. With that, I say peace and love.